Hola, and welcome to Astrolunachic's Guide to the Universe. I am Susan, aka Astrolunachic, and I will be your guide on this journey through the heavens as we try to answer the question, what the hell is going on in the heavens? And what is up your anus? It could be some asteroids. I don't know, but bend over and cough because we're going to find out. It is March 24th. I can't believe spring is here. 2024. And, I think we got snow, snow showers, like on the day of spring. But they say that March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. So it ain't over yet. And I'm sitting here waiting. It's usually not until mid-April when I can peel off a few layers and get some rays in the yard, sun shining. Yeah, I work on my tan in April. April to May, base tan. Then I don't have nothing to worry about pretty much for the rest of the season. Just a little touch up here and there. But, I need my vitamin D. And funny thing, I started really doing this many years ago when I noticed, because I never used to be able to tan, but I noticed after I had my kid that my Latina DNA kicked in and suddenly I had melanin. And to my great surprise, as soon as the weather was starting to get warm and I had short sleeves, I was getting a nasty old farmer's tan. We can't have that now, can we? So that started years ago. But it is very interesting, and I learned quite a bit about DNA. And we're going to talk about DNA today because it is hanging out there with the eclipse. But that being said, did you know that if a woman has a male child, his DNA stays in her system? And wouldn't you know, I had a male child, and he is also one half Latino blood. So I guess, that DNA by injection got together and woke my DNA up somehow because next thing you know, I am tanning like I've never tanned before, and my hair got curly. So go figure. I used to get perms when I was in high school. I'd get perms, and then 10 years later, I got me some curly hair. Never had to tan, never had to, what do you call it? Sorry, perming, and tanning. Very interesting. True story. So, yeah, um, that's my DNA and I'm sticking to it. I was related to my Hispanic ancestry more than my English, Irish, and Scottish that can't cook for shit. But, I like me some corned beef and cabbage. I made some and bangers and mash. And I don't know, I've tried haggis. I don't know. I mean, I kind of like it, you know, minus the cow stomach. Can't stomach the stomach. Not into tripe. Probably the one thing I won't eat. But anyway, here we are under the shadow of the eclipse. When I say the shadow, the eclipse is happening tomorrow, the 25th. So early on the 25th, or it could be overnight, depending on where you are in the world. So, uh, we are in the dark area of the moon. Not dark, sorry. That's the new moon. We are in the window. Thank you. Sort of the shadow, but not really. I don't want to confuse people. We are on the edge of the eclipse. And feels okay. Like I always notice, full moons, new moons, there's a lot of energy. People tend to get tired, especially around the new moon. It depends on how the moon is being aspected in your chart. Some people feel more energized. I just feel a little overwhelmed or bombarded, I guess. There's just so much going around. Uh, it is opposite my Saturn. I really do feel like it's time to get to work. Okay, like enough farting around. I could still fart a little bit because Venus is in Pisces, but this Pisces season was just wallowing in the depths of some murky dream, all in my 12th house, not sleeping well, some weird dreams. Interesting, not weird, interesting. Dreams are always interesting. So, the sun coming out of Pisces was definitely a boost. So, pretty soon, Venus will get out into Aries and be trine to my Venus. So, I'm feeling creative. I'm feeling frisky. Here we go. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Please like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can also find me on Rumble. I haven't uploaded anything over there because maybe I haven't been feeling naughty enough, but I should start populating that channel. Either way, you can subscribe to me over there. If you are on YouTube listening, if you peek down in the description box, you'll find all of my links there. There's links to buy me a coffee. Um, You'll be amazed at what I can do for a couple of coffees. Uh, I just keep going. I'm like, I don't know. Time doesn't exist. Terribly, terribly Piscean. Venus, Neptune. Yeah, I need to manage my time better. Saturn. Hi, Jesus. So, yeah, you'd be amazed at what I could do for some coffee. Um, Basic questions, peek at this, look at that, give me some timings. We don't have to do full readings. I can always just look at very specific things. Sometimes people need dates as far as, something's coming, a big change is happening. You want to, I don't know, file paperwork, you want to get your hair cut, get a get a Brazilian butt lift. I don't know. But there are good times and there are bad times for all of those things. And it's very helpful to know what the astrology is. Yes. So you can hit me up for that. Or, I do the usual Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, crypto. You guys, I accept crypto because I'm a crypto bitch. And yeah, all of those good things. Um, or if you just want to I don't know, book a regular reading, book some of my time, you can email me at astrolunatic@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on the Astrolunatic hotline, which is 914-222-1231. Dig it. All right. Where else can you find me? Instagram, Twitter. I'll never call it X. Sorry. Big fail. People are still saying Twitter. So, that's like toilet paper is Charmin. If I say Charmin, you say toilet paper, right? It'll always be Twitter. Sorry. I'm not going to send out an X. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna I'm just not gonna scroll around on my X, right? It just doesn't feel right. It'll always be Twitter. So, you can find me there. Where else am I? I have a Gilded Chat. Link is in the description box. There's nothing going on there, so somebody please go start something. I try to remember to post my links to the videos when I post them. I promise I'm going to be better this year. I have a Substack. I don't know if my link is in the thing, but yeah, just search me. I'm everywhere. Astro Lunatic. So, what else is going on, people? It's a Virgo moon opposite to Neptune. This has been a hot spot. Now, starting last fall, all of since last year, the transits going through the last few degrees of Virgo opposing Neptune has been quite revealing, as Neptune is really hiding all the bodies. And so a lot of, weird stuff goes on when we have aspects to Neptune. Think about Mercury. When Mercury was here, conjunct to Neptune, let's go back. Well, the sun was there on March 17th. The moon was there. Mercury was there early March. Think of all the shitstorm. I can give you my favorite shitstorms. I have a few shitstorms that I watch, and I've been chomping on my popcorn every time there's aspects to Neptune. Because to me, this is the spot where it's like everyone's in denial. People actually believe it when you say, when the news comes out with a statement from a public figure and we all believe it, right? This is where the veil is coming down, and this is going to be a hot spot for quite some time. Neptune will go retrograde and dip into Aries for a minute before it goes retrograde again, I believe. I don't really have the ephemeris in front of me, but Saturn and Neptune will enter Aries together. I don't remember if I don't think it's on the same day, but it's around the same time. And what has to happen before that is pretty much everybody kind of getting up to speed about the lies, the deception, the manipulation, the propaganda, the denial. Um, you can relate it to the passing through from the Piscean age into the age of Aquarius, which I don't think, I see these as very long cycles. So every time we have big aspects to that degree area, the last shreds of Pisces. It's always crazy stuff. It's always pretty crazy. So what it's preparing us for is when eventually the North Node catches up. And maybe we should look at the chart because I think it is important for us all to be looking at these things. Because what's happening now is setting the stage for the crazy shit to come. And we all need to be prepared. I'm not trying to sound dire, but it's kind of like, how do you know what reality is? I mean, you may not give a shit about the royal family, and I'm right there with you. I really don't. But that's one of the dumpster fires I am watching. But there's a reason for it. It's always it's always the astrological aspects that catch my eye first. And then I sit and I wait. And I'm like, all right, what is going to be the major thing that catches my eye? And, what is the collective talking about? Because that's where I'm going to find my answers. And I just know this is what I do. And, so whatever comes up around the weird aspects, I'm like, okay, there it is. Let me sit and watch because it's not about whether that thing is true or, you know, and some things are just obvious distractions, but I use it as an exercise to test my my skills, my ability to see through the illusion, to see what's really going on. Also to get a measure of the temperature of the collective. Let me see, what are people saying? How do people feel? How do they react? I'm a watcher. I watch. So, for me, it's not just astrology, it is psychology, it is sociology. And I like to see where we're at in the process of, you could say, the Great Awakening. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe you can relate to this. It's like sitting there watching and observing a situation, a dynamic. I know what I see, and then I look at everyone else who's looking at this and say, do they see it? Do they see what I see? Is it just me, or is something wrong here? And I used to feel very alone. Now I think I've got a lot more company. Um, I'm not the only weirdo. It's becoming more prevalent to be a weirdo. So I'm not so lonely anymore. But if you want to follow along on the screen here, what we've got here is Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces. So every time we have the transit to Neptune, Neptune is triggered. So round about, yeah, early March. While Mercury was diving in to Neptune before it did, let's see, the sun made a sextile to Jupiter and Uranus. And I feel like people wanted to see more truth. They want to see something more. I think they're getting bored with illusion or just the stirring of what is the nature of reality? What is really going on here? What is being given to me versus what am I observing? What's my perception? Very, very murky time. Uh, if you know what was happening in your life, I know what was happening in the dumpster fire that I was watching. And it really started months before that. But we had Mars and Venus squaring all through February, squaring to Uranus, squaring to Jupiter, and challenging us to the nature of reality. In Taurus here, it's very physical. Uranus has been bringing shock waves to the physical reality on a wavelength, energetic level in our bodies, through technology, glitches in the matrix. People are seeing glitches in the matrix, right? I mean, I mean that in a metaphorical sense. So, what's a glitch in the matrix to me is turning on regular TV and seeing uh something go down at the Miami Mall, and then what's being talked about on social media actually makes it to the mainstream normie news. That's a glitch in the matrix. That's when it's like, okay, wow, the two worlds, the two realities, the artificial reality and the actual reality are bleeding into one. And this will continue to happen. And from what I'm seeing in the astrology, it's just going to get weirder and weirder and until it can't be contained. So think back where you were around February into March. So the Mercury Neptune is like there's denial, there's deception, illusion, lies, and one of the asteroids that we've talked about, Borisisi, which comes from a novel, Kurt Vonnegut, Cat's Cradle, I believe, and um, it is the sun in the religion in the novel. Borisisi is the sun, and the religion itself. So the sun is obviously a solar deity. The sun represents God, right? Um, and in the religion, it's about, you know, the tenets of the religion are lies, and the lies are there to keep us happy. And because that's the point, always to being happy. And so not looking at the negative side. And so we all agree upon these lies, and we don't have to rock the boat. We don't have to have anything unpleasant. So the Boris Cece was here. Asteroid Hera was there. What else? Bandersnatch was there for a while. That's an interesting one. That's now in Aries, and uh it will be conjunct the solar eclipse. So we've got a lot of interesting things going on. Hygeia was there. Hygeia is health and hygiene, very similar to Virgo type vibe. Um, And so you all know the dumpster fire. Hera, the wife, her health, all shrouded in mystery and lies. So we can look at this degree here and the dumpster fire that is the royal fiasco in the UK. We can look at that as a marker. So, you know, I'm not just a celebrity watcher. I've never followed the royals, but it caught my attention because it was a marker for me. I saw these aspects. I'm like, what's going on? Actually, looking back when we were having transits over here, uh, the end of Sagittarius, when we had Mercury retrograde, we had Mars out of bounds, Mercury out of bounds. This was a very sensitive spot. So 90 degrees from the, this is galactic center here, 26, around 26 Sagittarius. If you go 90 degrees right here, 27 Pisces. So Neptune is squaring galactic center. And this is where, we are getting rays from space. We're being bombarded by cosmic rays because we are lining up with the center of the galaxy, galactic center. Some would say this is where we emanate from, our solar system. If you want to, who knows how this all works, but it is in some way representative of our origins. So it is also associated with truth, higher truth, ultimate truth. What is the truth? There's some crazy stars in this area here that are not associated, they're located in the constellation of Scorpio, in the stinger, poison, attacks, malice, horrible things. But also it is on the flip side, because it's not all negative, it represents the concept also of homeopathy. There are stars here that are located in the constellation Ophiuchus. And Ophiuchus is associated with healing and herbs and homeopathy. So, homeopathy is taking like a little bit of the venom as the cure. The poison is the cure. A lot of things happened when we had in 2020 transits through Sagittarius and Gemini, and the South Node was in Sagittarius. We were not getting the truth. Let's just leave it at that. And the eclipses are going to trigger that time period of the eclipses that we had around that time also. So you could think back to where you were and look at this as this is part two. I would think that when the nodes get into Pisces and Virgo and squaring this axis here, some astrologers will talk about the duration of the eclipse, and it's going to last for X amount of months or years, the effects. I don't look at it that way. I actually look at it as if you have an eclipse on a planet or it is aspecting a planet, there are events and effects taking place in your life that are going to always affect you. you're always going to look back on that time period, and hopefully you are evolving and you're learning and growing and you're making decisions as a result of what's happening during that time period in an eclipse time where your timing is kicking in, basically, uh, and you are being triggered because the horoscope, the planets, the solar system, it's all a clock. So when people say we live in a matrix, a simulacrum, whatever, whatever, like there's something else guiding this or determining timing and the quality of time. Absolutely. It's called astrology. So, excuse me. So yeah, it's all timed, and those points will be sensitive in your astrology chart. So when the North Node gets to be let's see. Yeah. I think it'll get crazier or more interesting or more, there will be more woo. There will be woo. Um, when the nodes are in, crap, clicking the wrong screen. Yeah. So Pisces, Virgo will be squaring too. So whatever you're thinking that happened in 2020, 21, 22, it does have its timing. And this solar eclipse is kicking off some timing with that. I'm just thinking about the timing of when the nodes go through Pisces and Virgo. A year from now, the North Node, Neptune, Saturn, and the Sun, and that'll be next March lunar eclipse. And then the nodes will be going through Pisces and Virgo. So health, the immune system, work, service, sectors, as far as, job class, service industries, religion, the film industry. A lot of things are going to change. I'm just thinking about the Pisces Virgo axis. I mean, this is where a lot of that, like scapegoating, blaming people, uh, gaslighting, all that shit that came in while we had, through the media, even while we had the nodes going through Gemini and Sagittarius. So my point is the eclipses that happened while we had the nodes in Gemini and Sag, um, those eclipses, those points will always be sensitive if you have planets in those signs. The eclipses that happened um, when the nodes come to square them, it'll be a turning point. And I always think of things in terms of trajectory. We're either on the up spiral or we're on the down spiral, and depends on changes in our consciousness, changes in our habit patterns, right? If we keep doing a certain thing, at some point, it's either it's either elevating us or or we are devolving. So that's very interesting. I think a lot of things will happen with health and I don't want to say the medical industry, but yeah, medical, but health and healing on a natural level and how we get our information, how we use our discernment. Um, it's going to be probably very important, I would say, during this time because there's still the potential for delusion and deception here. But let's get back to today. I didn't really mean to go that far into a discussion, but when the nodes go into, like, let's say when the North Node goes into Pisces next year, it's around this time, there will be something, whatever the story is right now, just consider that to be a continuation. So let's say you started on some spiritual practice or, um, an integrated body, mind, spirit path or practice, holistic, whatever, and you stay on that, what you're going to see is probably strengthened immune system, um, benefits to your body. But by the time we have the eclipses here and the nodes are in Pisces, Virgo, it's like your body will be clean, your health will be better, your immune system will be better. You will be reversing any um, dis-ease in your body. You'll be more detoxified. And also, what you'll notice is that when you detoxify or when you do fasting, stuff like that, there is a spiritual component that goes along with it because you're peeling off layers of crud, which, think of it as like the lens on your third eye getting cleaned off and buffed out so you could see more clearly. And I say see in quotes. Maybe you will be seeing, maybe you'll be remote viewing, or who knows what we could be doing, right? But if we all got on this sort of spiritual quest, um, it has to be body, mind, and spirit. So uh by next year, wow, I mean, we could be seeing amazing spiritual breakthroughs. So that's how it works for me. Um, the power of an eclipse doesn't go away. The immediacy of the effect, because it correlates with recent events like the last eclipse, correlates with more recent events, obviously. But if you went back and you looked at I don't know, your prenatal eclipse, that affects you too. I mean, there's a whole branch of astrology that looks at prenatal eclipses. How interesting is that? All right, I've talked enough. Blah, blah, blah. Woosah. I promise myself I'm going to get better at managing my time and doing the podcast, but as you can see, I have ways to go. I'm not there yet. Thank you for being patient, though. And some of you do like to listen to me ramble. So I'm here for you guys. That's what's up. Okay. So the dates are very, very interesting. And I will say that 322 is a very interesting number as well as date. I know everybody talks about the skull and bones, blah, blah, blah. I'm over it. Let's find the deeper meaning here. I have dug and I have found Ask, and ye shall receive. Um, yes, I have dug. Um, yeah, I don't want to tell anybody what it should mean for them. I think everyone should figure it out for themselves. I feel like my synchronicities are not everyone's synchronicities. However, synchronicities are the way the divine or our higher self or whatever's connected to source energy, let's say, it is an antenna and it filters down through us, that energy. And because we live in, I believe, a mathematical universe, everything can be reduced down to numbers or have a correlation. Numbers are significant, very, very important. So, I got my numbers and birth dates, people that have been important in my life, etc. Some of you know whose birthday it was yesterday. Someone born on 3/23, which was the day after 3/22. And on 3/22, I saw a very interesting plaque that caught my eye regarding the Pythians. And gosh, I really haven't heard anything about the Pythians since I was walking down a street on the Upper West Side, and this amazing, beautiful Art Deco building caught my eye, and I was just in awe. And then I did a little research and found out that was a former lodge of the Knights of Pythia, the Pythians, Pythicus, Pythons, Oracle of Delphi. It was also known as the Pythia, which was crazy because it was already something that was on my radar. And then I said, holy shit and balls, would you look at that? And it was the same thing. It's so weird. Like I'm walking down the street and nothing, and all of a sudden, snap, my head goes up and looks up, and I see these gargoyles and beautiful Art Deco. And then I look at the plaque, and it's the lodge, former lodge, now condos. But crazy how it called to me. And then I was walking down a hallway. Again, snap, caught my eye, plaque, Knights of the Pythian Lodge. Coincidence? I think not. I've been rambling. I need to look at where Pythia is right now. I'm sorry. Please bear with my obsession. Oh God. There are worse drugs to do. Worse than astrology. Pythia. I don't remember where it is in my chart. Pythia, 29 Aquarius is where it is right now. It's about to go into Pisces. Mars was conjunct probably when I looked at the plaque. Interesting. I know I have something else at that degree. Anyway, it's not about me. Go look, see where your Pythia is. It's not about my Pythia, it's about your Pythia. Where's your Oracle of Delphi? Where is your serpent energy located? All right. Knights Pythian, I salute you. Pythicus. Pythicus Maximus. Okay. Where was I? Oh, God. So fucking ADD. It's crazy. I should put timestamps on these videos on my podcast here so that those of you who could not sit through my ramblings and you just want the astrology. All right. back to the chart. It says I'm screen sharing. The hell? Oh, okay. Let's look at the week. Enough of these reindeer games. Here we are on the 24th. Today is an 8 day. You know we're in an 8 year, right? 8 is the vertical infinity sign. And I think in, what is it, Chaldean numerology, 8 is the last number and 9 is the beginning. Something like that. I don't follow it that way. But here we are with the moon opposite to Neptune. The moon in Virgo is really hashing out the details and the analysis with a fine-tooth comb, looking for perfection of the soul and spirit, and looking at the reflection of Neptune in the water. And what do we see reflected back? We see ourselves. And remember that everything is a mirror into our subconscious, that every interaction, every observation, every personal dynamic is a reflection of our shadow, because we can't see ourselves except if we look in the mirror. And who's the mirror? It is the quote, other. So I would say people are getting down and dirty with the investigations over here. We're also talking about health and what is affecting our health. Neptune. There's a lot going on with the water, a lot going on with our bodies, our immune system, and we're learning a lot. So a lot of the lies, a lot of the illusion from the past month is getting exposed. We are almost at the full moon, and that's an eclipse. And it's very important time. It's a peak energy. It is a culmination and ending, a climax, if you will, of a cycle. The full moons always are. They are a climax of the 28-day cycle, the peak of the energy. So with the eclipse, obviously the 6-month cycle is peaking, and there are a lot of things going on. There's a lot going on. Let's look at the fact that the nodes are in Aries and Libra, the first and the seventh house, the self and the other, right? If Aries is I am, then Libra is we are. So in essence, yes, it is balancing the needs of the self with the other, the individual with what is fair and just between two people, or, between the person and society. It does deal with freedom and rights, individual rights versus, laws and what is good for other people. You have the right to do what you want as long as it doesn't infringe on other people's rights. So it is that energy. Aries is ruled by Mars. Venus rules Libra. So within ourselves, we are talking about the masculine, female, feminine, masculine energy being balanced within us. So how do we assert ourselves? How do we take action? How are we able to um, live the way we need to live and express ourselves? Are we in touch with our true identity? Do we have things we need to heal? What is our destiny and fate as an individual? The North Node in Aries, Chiron in Aries, a lot of the ego wounding, identity crisis, identity politics, all that stuff has come from Chiron in Aries. The North Node is there to help us sort things out, to help us to assert ourselves and to heal while allowing other people to do the same. Right. So there is a lot going on. So this is a peak of the energy, obviously. We're going to have a Mercury retrograde through Aries, so there will be probably a lot of focus on individuals, free speech, or, if you're on Twitter, it's freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. Yeah. So we will be looking always at Mars and Venus and what they're doing. And right now they're both in Pisces. I'd say they're both freaking tired. They just want to like kick back, Netflix and chill. But I see a lot being processed here in terms of everything that's gone on really over the last 6 months to a year. The quote battles that have been being fought between the individual and the greater whole, let's say, um, or like the self versus the other. And mm, there should be more focus on the self. I don't want to say should, but the North Node being in Aries is calling us to develop part of ourself and process old relationship patterns and people from the past, but we're not the same, right? So whether it's a person coming back around that you had difficulty with, or that represents really a pattern in your life, it's not about that person. It's about you. It's about, um, you know, have you changed? Are you going to repeat patterns? And it may not be exactly the exact person, but it's a similar energy and you will recognize it. And, you know, your your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to do it differently this time. You know, don't entertain the toxic people. And there's a lot of toxicity. I'm sorry, Pisces, but there's a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of codependence that goes on with Pisces and Virgo axis. So that's something that we can look at with this um moon opposite to Neptune today, just before the eclipse, right? Um, it's really looking at our patterns from the past and uh because we want to do better. We want better for ourselves. We want to have better relationships. So the first thing that we notice is, you know, the negative pattern, the toxicity, the dysfunction, and then we have this big revelation about like who that person was, who our mother and our father were, right? It's our family, it's, the ex, and it does come down to what is it about me what do I need to see here? How am I attracting this energy in, because obviously I am, and there's something here that needs to be healed. Obviously, there's something that resonates within us if we are going to attract someone to play that negativity out with. Again, the mirror, moon opposite Neptune. So, I mean, some people stay in narcissism and say, oh, it was them. They were the problem, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I believe that with this lunar eclipse, a lot of it is really looking at the self. And we'll look at it as it's a ending of a cycle. And then the solar eclipse 2 weeks from now begins a new cycle. But with the solar eclipse and the Mercury retrograde going through Aries, contacting Chiron, contacting the North Node, all of these transits are bringing us back to our self, our core self, you know, that energy that was breathed, the life, the fire of God, the divine spark came into us when we breathed our first breath, our spirit, and coming back to that primal energy and living from that space. It's like being washed in the blood of the lamb, right? A lot of symbolism comes in with Aries and um, this new birth, rebirth. And this eclipse will be a rebirth uh, and a very interesting time. But the Mercury retrograde, as I was saying, is going to give us an opportunity, I think, to sort of reset the karmic clock, to sort a lot of things out where we need to heal. And the culmination and the ending that the lunar eclipse represents tomorrow is going to be a surfacing of something from the subconscious, personal to everyone. And not everyone is going to feel it directly, but something that's being released. And the events that we experience through the eclipse, which I would just recommend that, observe for yourself what's going on in your life. What do you notice? What are you becoming very conscious of? Because that's what the eclipse is bringing you. Look, see, understand, release, move on, understand the greater cycle of eclipses, of transits, of patterns, of karma in our life, and move forward. Because a lot has to do with perception, what we perceive as the reality, who we perceive ourselves to be, how we perceive other people, and where we in denial on some level, or have things been deliberately hidden from us and it's time to see the truth. And the truth, it sets us free. So if you're comfortable in denial, or you cannot, I mean, with compassion, I say this, and you cannot face a truth right now. Go easy on yourself. Take it in bite-sized pieces. But if you're like me and you like to dive head first into the chaos, then go for it. I think it'll be an interesting time. And relationships are important. And I think that we've done collectively a great amount of healing between or over the last 4 years in regard to how we relate to other people and how we deal with confrontation. I mean, Aries Libra is about confrontation. So, sorry, I'm burping all over the place. It's my smoothie. Um, Aries Libra. Aries is confrontation. Libra is peace and diplomacy. So how can we confront things peacefully? And how can we not go along to get along? You know, are we avoiding confronting something because we just don't want to rock the boat? But I think with the eclipses, we know there's change coming. So if the dynamic is unhealthy and it needs to change, if there's things that are not being confronted, then it might be a little uncomfortable. But if you already know and you want to maybe address a situation, I don't recommend doing it and forcing it. But if it comes up with the eclipse, and it might, because the Mercury retrograde will bring up conversations. So, uh, I mean, just judge for yourself. Just judge for yourself. So, that's pretty much where we're at today. And the moon did in conjunct to Mercury, so there is some details, let's say, or some feeling that is not jiving with what we see or what we hear or our ideas, how we're moving forward. There is an adjustment that needs to be made. Perhaps it is something to do with self-judgment and criticism of others. It could be, um, our own projection and uh, scapegoating of other people, right? And hypocrisy. Pisces Virgo is famous for that. Do as I say, not as I do. A lot of that going around. So the transits to Neptune were exposing hypocrisy big time. So there is something hypocritical about like where someone's speech and their actions don't line up. Like the information is somehow off, it's not jiving. We don't believe what we're seeing or hearing, quite possibly. And so if you watch around this time, you will see what your eclipse and Mercury retrograde story is going to be. I've talked way too much. Tomorrow's the eclipse. The eclipse is at 5 degrees of Libra, and it will be happening if you're on the East Coast, early morning, somewhere around 3 a.m. ish. So midnight if you're on the West Coast. 5 degrees of Libra, find it in your chart. The eclipse is ruled by Venus. Venus is in Pisces. It is sextile to Jupiter. It is seeking to expand into the material realm. And Venus in Pisces is doing it by sheer will and imagination and conjuration. Venus and Jupiter. I really like this. It is making an inconjunct to the South Node, which it's not good or bad, but it also means that once the moon gets to the South Node, something is going to be released. I think that this could relate to something having to do with the last solar eclipse when the, or the time when, let's see, around, yeah, I mean, like the end of last year, things that were going on by the end of last year, there's something wrapping up about that. We might hear something regarding something, I mean, that something or someone that anchors that time period for you. Think of it as a placeholder, the last eclipse, and whoever, whatever was. This is why I keep a journal. I kind of remember where I was and what was going on, but the journal does help because I can look up the date and I know the aspects and I know the little notations that only, I know I make little notations. This happened, that happened. I went here, I went there. You know, I heard a dragonfly fart. Little things. They mean something to me, but you know, after I'm gone, somebody will look at it and be like, what the fuck? Anyway, for me, it's my diurnal journal. Diurnal journal. If you're interested in doing a daily chart, look up diurnal charts. It's a chart set for your birth time. Make adjustments for, the time changes and everything. You can do that. I like to look at it in terms of how many, like, where's the midheaven and in relation to where the sun is in your chart. So I keep the sun X amount of degrees from the midheaven when I cast my chart. So the time change, whatever, doesn't matter. It does matter. So I just change it to keep the degrees the same. Anyway, it's a really great tool because you'll find that when you have transits to the angles of the diurnal chart, there are events. Stuff comes up. It works. So I love it. On the East Coast here, the lunar eclipse is going to be in the 9th house. Huh. Very interesting. So there is some sort of reveal or higher perspective that's coming in here in the 9th house. Could be legal, could have to do with legal stuff. Considering it is in Libra, it's in the 9th house. I look at, that as being a legal house. It is the ruler of the descendant, the moon. So the self and the other, two people, could be a Capricorn and a Cancer. It could be someone ruled by Saturn in the 2nd house. So it could be financial. These are just general things. This is how I'm just, whatever, shooting things out there. And the leader, the main character, the soul, the sun, it's in the 3rd house. And it is the ruler of the 8th house. Very interesting. Secrets, taboos, males, because it's Aries. Mars ruled people. Mars is in Pisces. It's in the 2nd house. Something to do with physical assets or money and funds, someone's funds, fund with a D, not funds. Very interesting. All right, I'm not going to go too deep into that because honestly, this would only apply to the East Coast. I think we know who we're talking about. If you know what's going on the East Coast with somebody's assets, forfeiture and seizure, and legal cases, there could be a legal judgment coming or an ending to a legal case for somebody, obviously. Um, whatever. My mind always goes to the legal stuff. I can't help it. Uh, mother, father, masculine, feminine, females. They're both in the second house, though. So whether it's action, taking action, being, being assertive as opposed to attracting, waiting, that's a feminine trait. They're both in Pisces. Venus is sextiling to Jupiter and Uranus. So, in order to bring forward or manifest something in the physical, to expand, to break free, and in the fourth house here, it is very much a private internal process. Um, and Venus in the second house. So we're talking about finances, resources, possessions. That's the second house. Our values, our physical body, yes. As the first house is spirit and the second house is spirit in a body. Feminine, obviously, it is Venus, but Venus also rules Taurus. So Venus in Libra is the air version. It's air, it's information, communication, mental, it is the analytical side of Venus. And then looking at the other sign of Taurus that she rules, it's physical manifestation, building materials, it's wealth, it's real estate. I don't know if you guys heard about this. I mean, this seems like a blip on the radar, but it's kind of huge. There was some kind of lawsuit or something with the involving the National Association of Realtors and the way that realtors go about getting paid with the between the buyers and the seller's agent, because you commissions are voluntary. It's agreed upon. I know this from real estate. You cannot set a commission. You can't have a standard, right? And every county has a board of realtors and they, the agents join. They have their pre-printed forms. You know, you have to fill in the commission. So there was a big kerfuffle and legal issue regarding commissions. And now the National Association of Realtors is going to change their regulations on commissions, which will not be great for agents. Well, things are going to have to change. That's all. Uh, but I guess it probably has them scrambling to rewrite contracts and everything like that. People aren't really sure about how the law will be applied, but it seems good for homeowners because they're paying a total commission to the listing agent, which gets split with, the buyer's agent or, the buyer's broker and then the buyer's agent. So I'm not really sure what the big problem was, but anyway, this could change things with real estate. And the moon, um, coming the day after the eclipse, when the moon passes over the south node, that's a release, we're like giving something up where we're having to change something in relation to the contractual agreements regarding uh, money, possessions, assets, real estate, finance. There's something going on here with finance. So I think we could see changes in regard to the real estate market, perhaps. I don't know. I haven't really dug too deep into it, and I really don't think that I went on realtor.com and I didn't see anything about it. And I'm like, how are you not talking about this? This is nuts. Nuts. Unless there's more to the story. I don't know. So that is our eclipse window, 3 a.m. If you're up, you'll probably be able to see it. I know that the ancient astrologers didn't recommend looking at the eclipse. They recommended staying inside, wearing white, doing your pujas, saying your mantras. Don't get caught in the light of the eclipse. But, we don't care about that these days. We have eclipse watching parties. So we'll see. Looks very interesting. I mean, it looks like there are big changes probably coming with the trine to Pluto, having to do with AI, technology, social media, the collective, the power of the group and the collective in conjunct to Mars. That is probably sussing out some more sketchy behavior, or some of it goes under the radar because sometimes things are hidden with eclipses. That's why I always say pay attention to what's going on. You might miss something. There's something. Mars in Pisces is passive aggressive. There's something coming in that we don't see. It could be health related, it could be a virus, fevers, predators, because Mars in Pisces feels very stealthy. It's sneaking up, right? It's in the 12th house from the sun. The sun doesn't see it. The sun is distracted by the moon, the lunar eclipse. It doesn't see this stealthy thing coming through, and I would be cautious. Once Mars reaches Saturn, and that'll be in about 10 days, Mars Saturn is a nasty energy. It could be very angry, frustrated, blocked, and not happy about being told no. Saturn is the judge. Hopefully not anything to do with, people being targeted, but probably it does feel like a sort of assassination, sort of ass in the nation. I don't know. And that's the solar eclipse. Of course, that's the nasty energy. Oh, well, we're not there yet, so Let's not try to drink from that cup of nasty. Let's just sit where we are right now. But be aware of Mars. Be on your guard. I don't like Mars and Pisces. I'm not crazy about what we see happening here. And it will be in conjunct to the eclipse. Anyway, uh, yeah. So let's do a little bit of a weekly run through the week. I'm gonna have to, I really do want to put timestamps because I know that some people come here and they want to know, like, what's the astro weather for the week? And you really have to like follow me in my meanderings, usually trying to be more concise. But let's get to it. Monday has the eclipse. The sun is hanging out with asteroid Borisisi, Icarus, who flew too close to the sun, and Borisisi, who likes its lies, and Hera, the wife, uh, and Okairo, Centaur energy. You can look that one up. It's not one of my faves, so like I don't love it. So like you guys could go research on your own. Okay, that's for the asteroids. Now, I will mention that asteroid DNA has been retrograde. It is now at 1 degree of Libra. I will do a separate asteroid show, but I will tell you there are interesting things going on with DNA, and I'm bringing it up because it is involved with the eclipse and possible revelations having to do with DNA. So, I mean, how do we look at DNA? There's so many different things we can look at, but basically, it is, we can look at it as genetic memory and tendencies, right? So hereditary traits that exist within families, the genetic code, the genome, genetic genealogy, and forensics and DNA when it comes to legal cases, uh, paternity issues. We can look at all of those things. So watch to see what is coming up because I think that will be a very interesting one as the sun is traveling with Hera, and that's the wife. Hera's the wife of Jupiter, Zeus, Magdalena, and then the sun will be later on in the week reaching Salacia. That's salacious gossip. Bandersnatch. I've been talking about Bandersnatch. Hygeia is in there. So it has to do with health. It has to do with DNA. It has to do with somebody's wife. I don't know. Um, and all of those asteroids have been squaring. Chaos, lie, and Estrella, which is justice. So something's brewing. Um, Remember, asteroid DNA is retrograde, so it will not be going direct until it went retrograde on, no, it wasn't retrograde then. It went retrograde at 10 degrees of Libra. It will retrograde back to 24 degrees of Virgo, at which point it will turn direct on May 15th. There are a lot of very high profile cases that are going to trial around June. Keep your eyes peeled. I know that Delphi, which might be related to Pythia, and maybe the Brian Koberger case. I think they're trying to put that one off. I don't know. But anyway, um, I think originally the trial date was supposed to be, I'm not sure. Those things can change. So there will be something that goes on, likely having to do with DNA. So there could be DNA that comes up between now and then, or there was that case of a what do you call it, forensic pathologist that worked in a DNA lab that was supplying results to the Colorado Bureau of Investigations. And over how many years? I don't know, almost 30 years of cases. I think they said over 250 cases that the DNA may not be accurate. That could be John Benet Ramsey. All right, I'm getting off track. Sorry. I just love that stuff. I'm just saying, maybe it doesn't apply to you, but if it does, hmm, who's your daddy? Who's your baby daddy? Who's your mommy? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot about twins. All right, so the eclipse is also being squared by asteroid Ixion and Didymus. Didymus is about twins and body doubles. Hello, Kate Middleton can't come to the phone right now because she doesn't need to. She's got body doubles and AI. This is crazy, you guys. So, I think there will be stuff coming up about twins. I'm already seeing it. Didymus is my twin asteroid. It's also Diddy. Diddy has twins. Yeah, that's right. I think the solar eclipse is going to bring something about his twins. Anyway, not all of you care about that. But uh Ixion is the asteroid that we look at in terms of the karmic wheel, um, uh, infidelity, messing around with somebody else's spouse, particularly the wife, and murder because, yeah, because, the love triangle, the jealousy, the murder plots, the DNA. And here's what I also think. Let's take a little bit more metaphysical perspective. This is affecting all of our DNA. And I would think that the eclipse is due because our DNA is encoded with our birth chart. Um, and so can't our DNA be switched on and off? Are we always an expression of what has come before that is encoded in our DNA in terms of our ancestors, their experiences, their karmic patterns? And are we not here to break free from that? So I am looking at this eclipse in particular um, to be looking at family karma and family curses and reversing those. And I mean, they may come up during this eclipse. It's very interesting because if we're looking at the sun, Hera, Magdalena, you apply that as you want, whether somebody's name or Mary Magdalene type archetype or Madeline, Madeline Soto. Telling you there is more to that story and it is coming out. Oh, does she have a child? Oh my God. I just thought of that. She might have had a child. Anyway, whew, trying to stay on track here. Um, Icarus, flying too close, and salacious stuff coming up. Um, Squaring to chaos, lies, Estrella, justice, and photographica is in there. DNA is in the Libra side where we have the eclipse. It's going to trigger something. And up in Capricorn, we have boop, 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 Ixion. We have Didymus, Diddy's twins. I'm telling you, something is going on here. Ooh, maybe they're not his. They're too pretty to be his. He's an ugly fucker. I think he has Capricorn rising. Maybe he's got another set of twins. I need to do a video just for those things. Crazy. Uh, Also in Cancer, where the eclipse axis is squaring, 8 Cancer, Telephus, which relates to oracles, intuition, telepathy, telephone, television. And don't say telewoman. I hear somebody out there. Telegraph, telephone, and telewoman. What are the 3 fastest ways to communicate? The message app. Telegraph, telephone, telewoman. Womp womp. All right, so we do have asteroid child and radio communicata at around 18-ish, 17, 18 in Capricorn. That's going to square the solar eclipse. So something is happening between now and in 2 weeks, the solar eclipse. I thought it was going to be about, you know, Kate and her kids. It could be, but I'm wondering if Diddy's kids will do some sort of interview, or they have recordings of telephone conversations. This could come up. If you think that someone is watching you, your social media, your texts, know that there's an app that people can install an app that is going to show them everything you're doing on your phone. Just keep that in mind. I know somebody that this happened to. Like her phone was literally hacked. And she would get these weird texts that were all like weird and scrambly. Like her texts were scrambled. They would double up. It's just weird. I know she was being watched for sure. One of her exes is a tech guy, and the other one is a dirty cop. Somebody was watching her. Anyway, just a heads up, because of this eclipse, this could be coming up for people with radio communicata, telephus, and the squares from the eclipse, and all the other crap going on. So, if you're worried about your DNA, do you like Madonna? I did a blog post one time, I think it's somewhere on WordPress, about Madonna and her MDNA tour. And I think I did it in 2020 because I saw some correlations there with her tour, what was going on in 2020 with DNA and MDNA and mRNA and Madonna. And she had a forensic cleanup team. She was obsessed with people collecting her DNA. So on her tour, she had people go through every room that she had been in and like do a forensic sweep. Very weird, very obsessed. So weird. So anyway, I mean, what else could come up? Stem cells are an interesting thing. Life extension technology and DNA and stem cells. Maybe they'll make it more affordable because it really does seem to work. Um, okay, I think I have squeezed all the juice out of that lemon. That is our Monday eclipse, lunar eclipse, 325. It is a 9-day. Nines are endings, and so are full moons, especially lunar eclipses. What is going on, people? Let me know in your in the comments. Let me know what's going on with you. Quickly through the rest of the week, we have on the 26th, the moon is still in Libra. It will conjunct the South Node in conjunct to Jupiter in Taurus and in conjunct to Venus. Looks financial, looks relationship be contracts, um, maybe investments. Depends on who you are. Okay. Uh, what else? The moon is really wow. I mean, the moon over the 24-hour period, it will in conjunct to Saturn. It will have to make an adjustment, put up a boundary, a barrier. It will come up against some resistance if you're thinking about the markets. I believe there will be a tumble in the markets. Just my opinion, not investment advice. Overnight, Monday into Tuesday. If you're looking to get in, if you're looking to buy, we're going to see some opportunity there. Big change in terms of laws, legal lawsuits, settlements, benefits, possibly. And the moon is going to oppose Chiron. There needs to be a balance. There needs to be some sort of confrontation. We have to look at where we are wounded, where we're trying to heal, where we want to assert ourselves, where we're not being equally represented, all of that. And then the moon will oppose, well, it will in conjunct to Uranus, some kind of surprising curveball adjustment, whatever, around 11 a.m. Eastern. Adjust for your time zone. I mean, it could be anything. Look for anything having to do with social media technology, digital anything, radio waves, the electromagnetics on the planet, solar flares, earth shakings, all of that stuff could be going on because that happens with eclipses. We are looking at a Jupiter moving towards Uranus, more and more dramatic Earth events, weather, climate, blah, 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 volcanoes, all that stuff. So shifting of tectonic plates, even with Venus there and Saturn, it comes against some resistance and, the pressure builds up. Something's got to move, got to shift, got to release this sort of, and it will come through the Aries energy. So that does feel sort of, volcanic, seismic, that's all interrelated. So look at that. And these type of things go on even in a metaphorical sense. People start to need the pressure builds up and people need to release and blow off steam and things come to a head, stuff that we've been burying and repressing. A lot of that is Mars in Pisces too, and Venus and Saturn, all that stuff. It's been building up, and depending on who it is, like their chart is timed for their release point. So it could come suddenly because the imbalance is too much to ignore anymore. Anyway, moving along. So the 26th is Tuesday. It's a 1 day. There's a lot of adjustment going on until finally we get to the moon opposite Mercury, which is probably on the 27th or late. No, it's late. Oh, it's on the 26th. Okay. So around 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, Mercury, the moon starts to oppose Mercury. There is news. There is conversation. There are ideas. There could be a lot of activity going on here between 6, 7, 8, but it could be a conversation between two people. We have the moon and Mercury. Could come from a Aries type, Libra type, Gemini type, Virgo. Not, I don't know, not really. So I'm just looking at, the aspects that are going on, or it just could be sort of the contemplation of a dynamic and thinking about what we need, about what is good for the individual, as opposed to the other with the moon in Libra. There could be some level of diplomacy being called for here. Peace, diplomacy, fairness, justice, but somebody may be real fired up with Mercury in Aries. So that's later in the day on the 26th. The 27th, we're still in Libra for a bit. It will inconjunct overnight with Neptune. So there are some blind spots, some kind of hidden things going on. And the vibe seems to shift overnight, the 26th into the 27th. Again, Neptune, anything to do with the oceans, water, uh, Hollywood, photography, illusion, delusion, deception, lies, religion, what else? Again, the ocean, which includes ships, war going on. Mars is on the ocean. Mars is now in Pisces and coming for Saturn. So Mars, the military or police or, law enforcement, that kind of thing, ruler of the sun, is stealthy, underground, creeping up, and it's also moving by water. And that will get interesting on the 26th because when the moon, into the 27th, so that's Tuesday into Wednesday, Wednesday is the 2 day. And the moon goes into Scorpio early in the morning and makes a trine to Mars. There's some kind of hunt, investigation, um, gathering, and digging into researching, perhaps to find out what's being hidden. Someone is being pursued, and then the moon squares to Pluto. So Pluto is also ruling the moon, and this could be a female, a mother, a psychic, a psychic investigator, psychic working with law enforcement. We did see with the the asteroids that oracles and intuition came up. Pythia is about to go into Pisces. Also, it may be in Pisces by this time, but I do think that we may see, um, or it may be talked about, that a psychic said that the missing person was going to be found here, or this is what's really going on with this mystery, and they're right. Shit, I need to put out a video. All right. So, Mars is pursuing, but it's doing it, you know, Mars is very direct usually in the way it asserts itself and the way it pursues things, but in Pisces, it really has to come at it sideways, similar to the way it deals with things in Cancer, indirectly and stealthy. I think also that the information that someone is after could be medical. It could be medical records being hacked, being exposed. Um, if you know what's going on with the Kate thing, uh, I don't there's something here in the chart that says to me that there'll be more of that kind of hacking. I just think that um, someone is pursuing the truth. They're going to find it. They're doing it, they're going about it subversively because they have to. And all of these things apply that if you think that someone is spying on you, they probably are. This is definitely spy energy. All right, so the 27th, Worlds, that's Wednesday. A lot of that is the moon in Scorpio squaring to Pluto, really pushing the envelope, going too far, going over the edge. Icarus. Icarus is in Aries. Icarus is sextile to Pluto, and Icarus is not going to stop until it gets down to the bottom of things. So there could be, but there is a potential for someone, I think, to be going about it in a subversive and illegal way. Sorry, but it's true. Or that comes out that that was done. Uh, yeah. All right, so into Thursday, the 28th. That's our 3 day. Don't forget the 3, 6, 9 days. Monday is a 9 day. And then we start the new energy on the 26th. It builds by the 28th, taking shape, because then we have a triangle, 3 people, 3 sides. 1 plus 1 equals 3. So the 28th, and the moon is still in Scorpio. Asteroid Narcissus is somewhere in the middle of Scorpio. Just putting that out there. And on the moon, on this day, the moon will make a trine to Saturn. So some kind of information is taking shape, but we're maybe feeling it on a very intuitive level. We feel that there's a thing coming, that we're about to hit a brick wall. Mars is going towards Saturn. We know that something is coming. And Moon in Scorpio is very much digging, investigating, dealing with topics of taboo, sex, uh, criminal networks, and, the seedy underbelly, but also the occult, metaphysical, things like that. And this is also dealing with um, the responsibility that comes with occult and metaphysical knowledge and how you use it, and um and the karmic blowback uh for misuse of one's power in that respect. So be aware. um it's also uncovering some hidden things in terms of what types of things people are practicing and how that all fits into the world we live in. Trafficking and shit like that is probably going to come up around March 28th. That's Thursday. So maybe someone is getting stopped, getting caught. The moon will oppose Uranus, and that is some unexpected information, shocking things being revealed of a painful nature, because the moon will in conjunct to Chiron. I think there's more people coming out. I mean, there are more people coming out since that Quiet on the Set documentary about Nickelodeon. There are other child actors who are adults now. Um, a few of them have YouTube channels, and they've been talking about stuff that went on, stuff that happened to them, things that are surfacing. This moon in Scorpio is going to bring up a lot of stuff for people. There is more stuff coming up this week. Around the 28th, watch for the moon in Scorpio opposing Jupiter in Taurus, opposing Uranus. More stories, more lawsuits, I believe, because more shit happened. More people are talking. It empowers people when someone comes out, like Drake Bell did, and shares his story. There's other things that happen to kids on that set. There's so many rumors. I mean, rumors that, it's like they all knew, but no one was doing anything about it. And I think we're going to see like more lawsuits and stuff, more people coming out, being exposed, losing their jobs, all that shit. So, because the moon is also, think about it, it's approaching a trine to Neptune. Neptune is Hollywood, the illusion, the glamour, the secrets. The moon is trining Venus. I think there'll be something that comes out about a child. That's already been rumored that Jamie Lynn, the father of her baby, was rumored. I'm not saying it's true. Maybe there will be a DNA test. Who knows? Who knows? But it's something along these lines. And it's not just people in the public eye. I mean, we look at people who are prominent and visible in terms of how the astrology is playing out, but this could be happening in people's lives. Secrets, you know, children, illegitimate children. So be going on with the royals. It's already been talked about, but this kind of energy would bring it out. And the moon in Scorpio is dealing with some pretty deep stuff. We're also talking about networks of people who do similar things that are disgusting, taboo, illegal, and how they network with one another. And um, people are passed around. Just saying. People get pregnant. Maybe they had twins. Crazy. So, a lot of craziness this week. I'm telling you, I'm already seeing some of the weird rumors already flying, feeling the eclipse energy. Let's see. While the moon is going through Scorpio, it conjuncts Narcissus, which is retrograde, Hybris, which is hubris. I can never say this word. Mbamba Wana Resa. I always associate it with beer. Maybe someone gave beer or something spiked. It is in Scorpio, so we could be talking about like date rape drugs, mm, roofies, and stuff like that. Stories coming out about that kind of abuse. More of that. So probably Diddy again. And Poseidon. Poseidon is Neptune, is the king of the sea, but it's the depths of this taboo, this abuse, this narcissism, this hubris, this very, very unfortunate abuse and trauma that goes on with people. Um, but it feels like the floodgates are opening. Yeah. The moon will make a sextile to Lilith. Lilith in Virgo is very afraid of exposure, of judgment, and maybe exposing someone else because they are super critical and judgmental. I mean, they are taking the responsibility maybe to bring judgment because they cannot stand that the person has gotten away with things, that they're a hypocrite. I'm not saying that Lilith in Virgo is a negative energy, but Lilith represents shadow feminine, which can be judgmental in Virgo, but maybe it's looking at the health ramifications, the drugs, the manipulation, the bad things that went on that hurt someone. So the point of the apex of what's called a yod, we have Lilith sextile to the moon in conjunct to Chiron and the point of the eclipse. And next, or hovering around Lilith in Virgo, we have our oath breakers and RICOs, which includes, lawyers and judges who are part of criminal networks and breaking their oath. Uh, and a fetus, so Orcus and a fetus have been there for a while and they're retrograde right now. So it's bringing things from the past, networking, people that you work with. That's a Virgo theme. And a fetus is guilty by association. So take that into consideration of what's going on Thursday. And so, yeah, most of the day into Friday. Let's see, the moon will be in Scorpio. It is going to, I think, early on Friday, the 29th, which is a 4-day. It's going to, in conjunct to Mercury again, and that would be a continuation of whatever was going on when the moon was in Virgo and in conjunct to, that would be today-ish, roughly. All right, the 29th. The moon is in Scorpio for most of the day. It will make a trine to Neptune. So the intrigue and the psychic investigations will be off the charts because moon in Scorpio really needs to find where the bodies are buried. Is there someone who drowned? Is there someone who's missing or goes missing in the water? Or do we feel like we're drowning? And it's sort of a lay low kind of energy, the moon in Scorpio. It is pretty deep. We're processing a lot. We're processing whatever's hidden in this area because Venus is coming towards it. So we know that there is something hidden. There's something going on here. And when we sense something coming, oftentimes our response is fear. So we're processing a lot of the unknown, maybe things that have happened over the week that were like, where, oh my gosh, like I don't want to face it. Maybe I just want to escape. Um, and there could be a sense of something is going on, but it is beneath the surface and we just don't really know yet. But it'll come out. It'll be clear if we just sit and wait. And there's a lot of there's a lot going on with the sun in Aries in terms of the asteroids and a lot of things flying around. I'll do another video on asteroids, I promise. I can't do it all today. And I have to wrap this up because I have to pee. Yeah, where did I see karma? Karma is in Taurus, and Pluto is squaring karma on Friday. Karma and Phaethon. Phaethon is photon, light particles. As I've talked about in previous videos, when we're talking about the river of Eridanus, which part of it goes through Taurus. It's not about the river, it's about the banks. Being able to hold the digital currency or our bodies being able to hold more light. You can look at it that way too. But on, let's see, on Wednesday, let's go back to Wednesday. The moon will square Pluto and oppose Karma and Phaethon. Just make a note of that. They're around 1 degree of Taurus. If that is a degree in your chart, that is sensitive. Phaethon can also be, it's also associated with car accidents. So keep that in mind. Or metaphorical crash and burn, Phaethon. Phaethon. It's like another one of those Icarus stories. Phaethon gets struck down by a lightning bolt from Zeus. You know, another one of those stole the keys to dad's car and get caught. You know, either you like, wreck the car or get caught or something. But we can look at it metaphorically. Let's look at it metaphorically. I just wanted to mention that because I just noticed karma and Phaethon in my notes. What else is going on? So it is a period of deep digging and soul searching and research and dark night of the soul, trying to sort this out, what this mystery is and what it means on a soul level. And the moon is trine to Neptune. There's also stuff going on with the oceans, with the water, the sea. All right. Very emotional, but very deep. In conjunct to Mercury, we've got to adjust. There's some sort of revelation and information that we need to adjust what we thought was true because Mercury's about to go retrograde, folks. Did I forget to mention that? No, I didn't. I didn't forget. April 1st, Mercury will go retrograde. Now, Mercury's at 26 here. There is a big reversal coming. What you thought was true is about to maybe get challenged. There's new information, new details, new research, a new level of disclosure of the facts, of truth, of who we are, of our relationships. If someone's gone digging around, they've got the receipts now. They know the truth. They've been going through the books. They know what you've been spending money on. They know who you've been texting. I'm clean. It's always better to confront it rather than to keep on lying, right? Kensington Palace, right? Right, Willie? 1 point, Willie. Oh my God. All right. This is part of the day on Friday. It starts out in Scorpio. We could be dealing with some crazy stuff. It could be financial. It could be fears about crashes, whatever, or relationship stuff. And the moon will go into Sagittarius and sextile to Pluto around 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So the tone changes. We are now ready with the facts, with the truth, with I mean, we're just ready to go after it. The moon is going to square um, Mars. So we're talking about by the end of the day, like if you've been hanging on, waiting to figure something out, hear from somebody, you're waiting for the conversation or somebody's mood to change, it'll happen later on in the day. That's the 29th. That's Friday. So by then, the sun will be conjunct Salacia and Magdalena, Salacia, there's salacious details. It's salty. It's gossipy. That's when Pluto is definitely square karma and Phaethon. Crash and burn, wreck. It's karma. The moon will sextile Pluto. That's what I said. And in conjunct to karma and Phaethon. And then square to Mars. That won't happen until late, maybe early Saturday. Watch Friday night into Saturday if there are any issues with drugs and alcohol, driving too fast and driving under the influence, and DWI cases. The moon in Sagittarius. But also, this would probably be Friday into Saturday international news, something having to do with focus on warfare, even what do you call it, law enforcement, or um, even Coast Guard, right? Because that's a thing, Border Patrol, and weapons. If the weapon hasn't been found, it's probably been tossed from a bridge into the water. I'm serious. Sagittarius rules high points and bridges, and Mars is uh, weapons. And in Pisces, it's in the lake, it's in the river, it's in the ocean. Okay, that could be the body too. Yikes. Why do I always think of these things? I can't look at it any other way. This is, let's look at a higher perspective. The truth, justice, Sagittarius, travel. Mars wants to escape, go, take a spiritual retreat and focus on itself. Moon trine to the sun. There you go. Going towards your destiny. Moon trine to the north node. Sextile to the south node, letting go of what no longer serves you. Isn't that boring? It's boring. All right, whatever. Saturday, great day, great day. Great. The moon is trine to the sun, very positive energy in terms of, it's good for fire, it's good for exploring, positivity, um, go out, go for a hike. It's probably what I'll be doing. Do some microdosing, Venus conjunct to Neptune. Love it. But be careful because Mars is in Pisces. There is that underlying sort of passive aggressive-ish going on, but the moon will move towards a trine to Chiron. Hello, my love. And, healing is the ultimate goal. Mercury is not retrograde yet, but see it, it's hanging out there at 26 degrees and it's waiting for the moon to trine because we have some big revelations and reveals coming. Let's see. I think it's not coming till the 31st, though. But the moon does make pretty good aspects on Saturday. There is a square to Saturn, so there is a limitation, a caution, some kind of a block or obstacle that we come up against. Saturn is the judge, and Saturn says no. Sometimes Saturn says no. We're just not right now, right? Okay. What are the unconscious blockages? We can look at that in our quest for truth with the moon in Sag. And that's around 7 p.m. So let's go to the 31st, where we will have the moon is trying to Chiron then. We come to some truth, some healing, and we are still moving through Sag by the end of the day. We're getting closer to some kind of news or announcement. Mercury gets to 27 and then it stops. So late on March 31st, which is our 6th day. So late in the day on Sunday, we're coming to some great revealing of truth. The moon is at galactic center. That is, well, let's say that that is in the chart the highest level of truth that we can attain. And it is making a trine. The moon is making a trine to Mercury. And so we are getting news information on this day, which is still going to be crazy because the moon is square to Neptune and Venus. This is a female. Something's going on with a female or with a relationship, or for some people, it could be financial. It could be all of these things. In fact, it is all of these things. We may not look at it as being financial, but there are things going on under the surface that we are not privy to, but there could be a lot of distraction and hullabaloo in the media because we're talking about Sagittarius. There's stuff going on in the world, politics, um, foreign people, foreign lands, and something to do over here with Neptune and Venus. It will have to do with probably the royal family and the whole thing that's been going on. Mm, an announcement of some sort or some new level. Could it be a new level of deception? Yes, it could. Photographs. Asteroid Photographica is somewhere in Cancer. And by that time, I believe the sun is maybe squaring it. Let me just check that. Photographica. The sun will be squaring. Yeah, Photographica. First, it's Estrella and Binor. There's some kind of legal issue that is keeping things locked down. The strong man is Binor and Estrella is Justice. It could be that things leak past the some kind of injunction, and then photographs are released. The sun will actually square Photographica. Let's say by the end of the week, the sun is squaring Photographica. Something about a photo, more photos, or something is revealed about a photo, whatever. Um, Apollo, I mean, that's like Apollo and Zeus, but like probably having to do with, leader, king, whatever. And then the sun will square Hades, which is in Cancer. I feel like it is an emotional family situation, one's own personal hell. Hades is retrograde. I'm sorry. I always say I'm not going to go into the asteroids, but I can't help it. Then there's Kronos, which has to do, well, Kronos is Saturn, but it's at 14, which would be the node squaring that. But Kronos is like deeply entrenched, long-standing power, right? Power, the elite and families and stuff like that. It's also retrograde. So Sphinx is in here, 15 Cancer, mystery, and the solar eclipse will square Aeschylus, which is retrograde. This is sort of like finding things out, piecing things together after the fact, or like the third time's the charm, or there are three phases to something, like a retrograde, that kind of thing. And Mercury will square that while it's in retrograde. This is a very important Mercury retrograde coming up. So on the 31st, there is some kind of a message, some kind of truth. I expect that it would, I mean, it's personal for everybody, but, and depending on your chart, but it will coincide with an announcement, some sort of an announcement. Um, I think it'll probably have something to do with the individual right of a person to say something, to come forward, to talk about something that is a legal issue, that is a legal case. We may not know that there is an investigation going on. We may not know that there is some kind of super injunction, gag order, NDA, that kind of thing. Um, Either there will be something leaked because someone does not some in someone's moral perspective, um, their convictions supersede God. God's law supersedes man's law. Where someone says, for me to keep quiet is more of a crime. It's a crime against my conscience. And I don't care. I'll go to jail. The moon will be opposite my whistleblower asteroid, Ascalaphus, which will be making a sextile to Mercury. There's going to be a whistleblower that comes out. There's going to be information leaked. There is going to be a flood of information coming out because regarding a woman or from a woman, Venus conjunct Neptune is square Ascalaphus, which is my whistleblower snitch asteroid, which is also going to be squaring Arachne. Arachne and Ascalaphus is people getting together, weaving a network, or being very stealthy to expose and blow the whistle, or they are blowing the whistle on the network, the web, the spider web of Arachne, the weaving spiders. Could be either one. But by March 31st, and this is the day before Mercury goes retrograde, there's going to be something huge that comes out. This could have to do with what happened during the the I mean, this is there's a lot of layers to this, but think about when the South Node went through Sagittarius and how the truth was censored. And there was a lot going on with social media and journalism and all of the lies and propaganda and things that were faked. There will be like photographic evidence that comes out, things that were suppressed. The whole role of the media is being busted wide open because we can see it now. I mean, as far as what's been going on with the royal family, we can see the spin. We're seeing through the illusion. Venus is going to be caught up in Neptune, go through Neptune. It's like a gate. It's like she goes through the fog. She's got all of the details that are being hidden and suppressed. And then as she squares to Asclepius, snitch whistleblower, she reveals what's really going on. And the moon in Sagittarius, trine. This is the setup for the eclipse, just letting you know, and the Mercury retrograde. So, what happens? What point are we at on March 31st? What is swirling around in the collective? What are we experiencing personally? Because with the eclipse, a huge dam is going to burst, but there's a lead up to it. So, what we're dealing with here has a lot to do with the transits of the nodes, the South Node through Capricorn. That was 2020, 2020, 2021, 22, 23. Now we're in 24, right? So there's been a lot revealed, but it's going to be a new level. So I do think a lot of it has to do with the new level of censorship and what happens maybe with TikTok. You know, I don't think they're going to ban TikTok. I think they want to force the foreign investment out of it, and then they will get to choose what company is worthy of stepping in. But don't you think they'll be controlling it anyway? They want the keys to that back door. That's what I'm thinking. But it's all about this, back and forth, this give and take pushback of like every time there's a little bit revealed, people are making up their minds about things because we have more information. So that's what the Mercury retrograde is kind of dealing with, where we didn't have all the information, we're getting it. It's coming. And the Mercury retrograde is revealing more and bringing us to a deeper level of understanding, of who we are and what we stand for and what we want and our relationships and the world that we live in and, you know, how we consume media and information and what our concept of reality of what's going on in the world and how that is shaped through the media because guess what? There's a lot of lies. I just think they will probably try to push a brand new lie and it just won't, people won't be having it. It'll be just crazy because at the same time that I say that we will see things from whether it's the person in front of you who is trying to gaslight you and lie to you and tell you nothing's going on, or if it's whatever you're watching on TV they will, because they have not evolved, but you have, so you can see it. Your third eye is open. You see things for what they truly are. But meanwhile, the person is still lying. They're still doing that same shit because it worked before. We believed it. We don't believe it anymore. We do not believe it anymore. And we'll be calling the shit out, whether it's on Twitter or in our own personal life. Um, you know, the gloves are off, the veil is down. We see it for what it is. Or if we didn't see it before, we're going to, because Venus Neptune is, I want to believe this is where we are just in denial about certain things, and a lot of, there could be fear, there could be hopium, maybe, or things are about to take a turn. Let me just leave it at that. And that brings us up to next Sunday. And I've probably gone 2 hours again. I'm not going to apologize. It is what it is. It is what it is until it ain't. And I'm still working that stuff out. So I get on, I just start free flow, associating, riffing. And you know what? You're getting the best of me. It may not be organized, but it's still pretty good. This looks good for me, so I'm happy. That's all that really matters, right? Ugh. No, I mean, but I'm the kind of person that I'm always like, what am I not seeing? What am I deluding myself about? What am I, where am I wearing rose-colored glasses? Because there's a lot of this energy here where we we may be wearing rose-colored glasses in some respects, but the quest for truth is strong. The individual, the desire for the soul to come through and fully express itself. All this Aries energy, it will be an adjustment. It will be a little difficult until Mars goes into Aries, because Mars in Pisces is a little subversive, a little sneaky, a little passive aggressive. Mars in water signs tends to be very sensitive and kind of dissipates the energy when it comes to the drive, the masculine energy, the assertive principle. So I think Mars will be out of sorts and fire signs until Mars gets into Aries, which will be around April 30th. So the month of April, could be stormy, could be cranky. Somebody could be wearing a saggy diaper, but it's also, if we're thinking about attacks, it's surprise, it's underwater, it's emotional, psychic attack. Don't get scared. It's not for everybody. But Mars feels a little helpless in Pisces. Mars can be the victim. Mars can lash out because it feels like it's being treated unfairly, taken advantage of, lied to, yada, yada, yada. So that's Mars. If you are a fire sign, a Mars ruled sign, you may not really get to the bottom of things until after Mercury goes direct, which will be, ugh, did I write it down? Bad girl. I know it goes retrograde on the 1st, but it is going direct late April. It's hard to see. It goes direct at 15 degrees on the north node. So if you're looking for direction, if you're wondering where to go, if you're wondering what is fated and uh, what when the Mercury retrograde story is going to sort of unravel and start moving forward again, look to April 25th when Mars goes direct on the north node. So this is fate, destiny, where we need the direction we need to go in. So if there's been a discussion, if there's been thought, planning, contemplation, hesitation, trying to express ourselves, deal with anger issues, partnership, that sort of thing. It will start to smooth out when Mercury goes direct on the 25th. 15 degrees of Aries. Look and see if that is important in your chart. As Mercury goes direct and things start to smooth out, the moon will be going through Sagittarius. So I would expect really moving forward. If you want to go ahead and travel, maybe. No, I wouldn't. Sorry. Mars will be conjunct. Oh, crap. Maybe there'll be like skirmishes back and forth, and then Mars, it will be conjunct Neptune. That really does look like you sunk my battleship. When the moon, April 27th, eesh. Well, by that time, Jupiter and Uranus will be conjunct, and that's a big deal. Boy, yikes. So Venus will be at the degree on April 27th, the 27th degree of Aries, where Mercury made its station to go retrograde. So these dates are connected. As Mercury's going retrograde and Venus is conjunct to Neptune, there is deep deception or denial or something going on. There's a lot hidden. There's a lot that we don't see. And it'll take the whole retrograde to really sort it out. If it's the markets, then maybe it takes until the end of April for things to really, to shake the fear out of the market, I would say. Um, and we always do weird stuff during eclipses, like the financials go weird, relationships get wonky, things happen, things change. It's a time of big change, and that's why astrologers say don't make big decisions, just kind of go about your life, go about your business. Not a great time for travel, definitely not international. Um, Avoiding conflict, not avoiding, it's about how you handle it. If you need to confront something and assert yourself, it may be a challenge And it may be a three-parter. It may be that things blow up, there's an argument, and then there's a series of successive conversations where you work it out, negotiate, look at both sides of the equation, look at how the situation is affecting both people and then the people around you, and try to work it out as peacefully as you can. But there is a portion of the issue that is in long-standing denial. Let's just put it that way. Whatever it is, across the board. But during this Mercury retrograde and this week, people will come out, people will say things, people will let the cat out of the bag, people will confront things and talk about them honestly, where you've been hiding something, but the other person doesn't know that it's a big secret, and they just come along and blab, blab, blab. Yeah, it is that kind of energy. So take it with a grain of salt. It's not all horrible. If you are really worried about things, get a little reading. I do eclipse readings, and I often get a lot more traffic around eclipses because people sense that something's coming. And then I talk about things in my podcast and it rings a bell with someone and they're like, "Yeah, what's going on in my chart? Because that sounds familiar. What do I need to know?" So I think we all kind of know, like, when big decisions and big changes are going to be coming up, but the astrology does give us a good tool to understand the nature of the dynamics that are going on and what is changing, what's part of a larger cycle, what should we do, what do we need to do, what do we need to confront, what do we need to resolve, what is the pattern, what are we healing through, all of that. It's all very important. So, with that said, you know where to find me. You can email me at astrolunatic@gmail.com. You can call me or text me on the Astro Lunatic hotline at 914-222-1231. Or if we're friends on social media, you can DM me. I get those a lot. Hey, what's going on? Here's a coffee. Check my chart. I really do I really do enjoy doing those kind of readings. So as far as readings go, I take payment in what do you call it? Yeah, you could buy coffee, or I take Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, crypto, and on the odd chance, sometimes I do trades, but it depends. Depends. Depends on the person, depends on whether I need something that they have or if I don't. I don't really do readings, trades and readings, like um because I read for myself. And I have a really good psychic. I have a couple of good friends that do it. Anyway, I don't really trade with readings. So there's that. And what else? What else? What else can I tell you? You know where to find me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Look for my Gilded Chat link in the description box on the YouTube video. Look me up on Rumble. Follow, subscribe, share if you care. Make comments on the videos. You guys can let me know. Like, you can give me feedback, you can give me observations, give me questions, whatever, things you want me to talk about. If you want more information about something, if I mention something that you want me to go deeper into, if there's a particular public figure, celebrity, or something, um, true crime thing, chart that you want me to look at, um, I'll be doing it. And this is probably, for me, the eclipses are what is gonna probably kick my ass into gear. Because I've been holding on to a lot of stuff. I just haven't done it yet. But anyway, I have looked at some pretty crazy stuff lately, and I need to do it. So anyway, if there's a person you want me to look at, it'll light a fire under my ass. If I know that people are out there, they want to hear it. I kind of need that little boost. So, um, yeah, and I want to talk about the stuff that people want to hear about. So, again, sorry so long. I am going to commit to chopping it up. Like, one of the things that I think would be good is if I could just do it in segments. That way I could be talking about the planets and the aspects and stuff and give the weekly report and then look at the asteroids or the stars or, you know, celebrity charts, whatever, stuff like that. So it's my plan. Capricorns move very slowly. Okay, you guys, thank you again. I appreciate all of you. And as always, ciao for now.